¿Quién soy?
¿Quién soy? Who am I?
Who am I? ¿Quién soy?
¿Quién soy? Who am I?
Build a wall, strong and tall, to keep the others out, separated. Construyamos un muro, fuerte y alto, para mantener a los demás fuera, separados.
A treacherous journey I undertook, for no other reason than to save my life, as well as those that to me God entrusted, my children, my mother.
We sought the beast, a horse made of iron, an illusion of freedom, mesmeric, leaving us benumbed.
Day after day, night after night, carrying this human pile.
Perched like birds under a blazing sun, holding on to its blistering metallic back. Clackety-clack, clackety-clack.
Tales are told of how one must run, reaching out quickly with a firm grasp.
Swing yourself up and climb, they say, but for many, this is not to be had.
Upon falling, limbs are often ripped away. Some die, others survive, only to live crippled and maimed. Squeaky wheels fiddle a lethal lullaby.
On it goes. Clackety-clack. Clackety-clack.
Wake up!
Lest you fall, crushed on the winding tracks.
Its arms and legs waving at those on the side, starving and thirsty, hoping some food will fly, tossed up in the air by merciful hands.
Build a wall, strong and tall, to keep the others out, separated. Construyamos un muro, fuerte y alto, para mantener a los demás fuera, separados.
I am Mexican. Soy mexicana.
I am American. Soy estadounidense.
I am neither yet both, y a la vez ninguna soy.
I am mestiza. Soy mestiza.
A mixture, una mezcla.
Una mezcla, and yet a making of my own.
Shunned by both for who I am, for the space I have created. Rechazada por ambos lados, por ser quien soy, por el espacio que he creado.
Carne guisada, mashed potatoes, and corn are my comida, my food, a mezcal from both worlds.
Carne guisada, puré de papas y maíz son mi comida. Mi comida es la mezcla de ambos mundos.
I stand united yet torn, because I am neither but both. Estoy unida y a la vez separada en lo profundo.
Build a wall, strong and tall, to keep the others out, separated. Construyamos un muro, fuerte y alto, para mantener a los demás fuera, separados.
As soon as we pulled in, its maws shut us in, startlingly, reminding us that, captive again. Exhausted and famished, we were told to sit and wait while medics came to scrutinize our physical state. It found even a trace of the dreaded chickenpox. 20 days, one after another, feeling more like 40 days and 40 nights in a small isolation box. We waited and waited to disembark. Steered into quarters, kept awfully cold, bare, and stark. Someone called out, "Wait, we'll be with you soon." My children, already tired from the long ride, got underfoot. One of the workers looked up at me, distressed and appalled. My anxiety rose. Nervous about being the chosen one, called. Sternly, with a frown, she demanded, "They need to settle down." I wanted to scream from deep within, make her understand. When forced to bolt, it was in the back of a truck, all crammed, quite often forced to stay quiet, lest we be heard. This being the way my darlings I could transport. After a while, our supper arrived, in a brown paper bag. Gratefully, we tore into it, ravenous from days of lack. At last, my name called. My limbs seemed to have locked, shackled by horrific memories, refusing to be blocked. Tugging at me, my son brings me back to reality. Looking down, I smile, knowing he is my sanity. In my innocent babes, only for them I tolerate the weight. A nurse beckoned, insisting tests needed to be done. Step on the scale, read these letters, urinate in this cup. My child screaming, frightened by the blood pressure cuff. She too questioned our journey, expecting a detailed account, oblivious to my struggle to frequently my story recount. Once done, she then sent us back to wait yet again. We waited and waited until gestured by an officer of ICE. Question after question, somehow feeling accused of telling lies. Why did you come? What were your plans? Do you have family here? He asked and asked, replies were made, but truthfully, I wanted to rant and rave, yell in his face. Can you even begin to understand? There was no time to think or plan. I was at my wit's end. Dismayed, I saw another worker inspect my meager belongings, one by one, private items, shoes, a bag, maybe a set of clothing. Her nose wrinkled in distaste, making me feel more debased. Catching my eye, she quickly put on a tight smile, gesturing for us to sit at her desk, frowning all the while. The questions start once again. Obviously, it's just her trade, her tone plainly showing there is no care. It's her usual charade. Only weariness and endless questions gave hint to time. Not able to read a clock nor windows to see if it night or day. It seemed an eternity of being taken here and there, my story rehashed, doubting that anybody really cared. What we desire is to wash away the ache and grime, a warm bed to cradle our fears and angst during the night. Our bodies were examined, but what about our hearts? Do you not see? Right here in front of you, we continue falling apart.
Build a wall, strong and tall, to keep the others out, separated. Construyamos un muro, fuerte y alto, para mantener a los demás fuera, separados.
Muertas de hambre. Lo que deberían hacer es a su país regresar. Pathetic beggars. Why are you even here, in this foreign land in which you don't belong? La comida de nuestros hijos solo vienen a quitar. We already know that you have only come to beg and steal the bread from our young. Those words resounded harshly in my ears as I waited in that horrible place where I was no longer a person. I was simply a number, an immigration case, held in the corner of ICE, subject to these people, these so-called workers of ICE with frozen mechanical hearts, pretending to protect their people and their rights under a blanket, tiny piece of paper, uncontrollably trembling and shaking. Our breaths were ragged and labored. From intense cold and a fearless face, my children cried out, if anyone can truly hear. A cover unable to shield us from the chilly breeze, nor our ears from the anguished cries of mothers bearing the pain of seeing their children seized, the dismissive answer was always the same when inquiring where their children would go. Ustedes se lo buscaron cuando quebrantaron la ley al venir aquí ilegalmente, cruzando ríos, montañas, escondidas como delincuentes. You brought this on yourself when you broke the law, coming here illegally. Now you pay what you owe. Food we scarcely had. Our meal, if you can call it that, was nothing more than a frozen piece of luncheon meat on a piece of bread almost impossible to bite. Unas migas de miseria para conservarnos vivas. The rigid floor became our bed, freezing, tired, never able to rest. I lay there, still bearing the cuts and bruises of those that had raped and abused me, causing me to flee. Solamente para venir a un país sin corazón, more heartless and even icier than mine, that never helped me when I reported the crime. My words falling on ears that were deaf to my cries, I pray that you do not allow your ears to be ice. Build a wall strong and tall to keep the others out, separated. Construyamos un muro fuerte y alto para mantener a los demás fuera, separados.
At the hands of beasts and brutes, we endured heartache, anguish, and misuse. Yet somehow, when we are looked upon, we stand as the accused. The terrible acts committed against our being seem to bear no weight in the mind of many. Not a thought is given to the wrongdoing. To others, somehow, some way, we are to blame. It must have been something we did or said to be dishonored, violated, humanly raped. Did it really happen, or is it just alleged? How else can this atrocity be explained? Never mind that we were innocent bystanders, never asking to be noticed or to be perceived, living our lives. But that doesn't seem to matter. Rather than admit that monsters do exist, and you were inept to shield and defend, you ease your own ache, making us feel our pain is to blame.
Build a wall strong and tall to keep the others out, separated. Construyamos un muro fuerte y alto para mantener a los demás fuera, separados.
Selling pupusas and refrescos, earning enough to provide my own little business, allowing me sustenance and pride. Raising 2 small sons on my own, by their father disowned. Suddenly, threats of losing my children came if impossible fees were not consistently paid. I had to follow a path many are forced to take, eluding perils from raiders and sinister terrain. On one final barrier, a daunting, hazardous waterway, its bank, a marsh full of tarantula and poisonous snakes. Desperate to find refuge, my sights on the journey's end, an answer to prayer, a fragile boat I find, truly a godsend. The other side seemed so close. We did it, I supposed. A sudden gust of wind blew, violently shaking my world. Turbulent, icy waters slammed us, crashing, roaring in a rage. Though my babies I held tight, the oldest fell over the side. Avidly I fought to grab him, screaming, hysterical, deranged. No, the river with its ruthless current ripped my child away, taking my life, my joy, buried in a watery grave. Icy waters that took my boy and froze my soul. No tears, no flowers, no time to mourn. Therefore I sat there, devastated, in shock, a divided mother, broken, grieving her loss. All of a sudden, a cry in the dark pierced my heart, giving me the desire and the strength that forced me to respond, making me realize that though the eldest is sadly gone, my youngest son deserves to have a loving, caring mom.
Build a wall, strong and tall, to keep the others out, separated. Construyamos un muro, fuerte y alto, para mantener a los demás fuera, separados.
Painful memories, crushing, squeezing, shattered dreams thought long forgotten. Innocence and purity pilfered by a thief, made to feel humiliated, beaten, downtrodden. How dare he take what once was mine? My virtue to gift to him, the man I chose. Tears, hot and pouring like a raging torrent. A victim you once were, but no more. Little girl of my past, the fault lies not with you. Stand tall and proud for who you are. New, fresh, restored. By your one true love, he who once was broken and hung on a cross, to now reside forever in your new heart, with dreams birthing, visions unfolding, created for you to impart. Dolor de recuerdos, aplastando, apretando, sueños destrozados, pensamiento olvidado hace tiempo, inocencia y pureza arrancadas por un ladrón con sus mentiras, hecha para sentirse humillada, golpeada y oprimida. ¿Cómo se atrevió a tomar lo que alguna vez fue mío, mi virtud, para regalarle al hombre que consideraba divino? Lágrimas ardientes y derramadas, como un torrente furioso. Una víctima que alguna vez fuiste, pero no más. Niña de mi pasado, la culpa no es tuya. Levántate, alta y orgullosa y entera, porque la vida te espera. Nueva, fresca y restaurada por tu único amor verdadero, el que estaba roto, esperando, colgado en una cruz, para residir en tu corazón restaurado, lleno de sueños nuevos, de visiones desplegadas y creado para que lo compartas.
Build a wall, strong and tall, to keep the others out, separated. Construyamos un muro, fuerte y alto, para mantener a los demás fuera, separados.
Will you lend me an ear to my cry of pain? Allow me to stand with no hint of shame. Will you open your eyes to my credible fear, empathetic to my sufferings, griefs so severe? Mi único delito fue escapar de una carnicería en mi lucha de salvar a mis dos pequeñas hijas. My only offense was to run from the bloodshed, iniquity, and wickedness that has left many dead. Upheaval and mayhem, now rulers of my birthplace, exploding, destroying, an impending earthquake. Paucity and adversity, assassins too countless. Cartels, gangs, creators of raging violence, crushing all who defy their instructions. police corruption leading to total law disruption, civil wars and armed conflicts now becoming the norm, social inequality extreme between the wealthy and poor, terrorism, rape, abduction, and drug trafficking. Thus, our children's safety, how do we ensure? All I ask, with your aid, is to be their pious steward, as they are a gift from the Lord, a gracious reward.
Build a wall, strong and tall, to keep the others out, separated. Construyamos un muro, fuerte y alto, para mantener a los demás fuera, separados.
Tratada como una bestia, sin un toque de dignidad, por una madrastra que me golpeaba a su antojo. Then tied to a man that used me to fetch and carry, making me feel like a chamber pot every time I had to meet his needs. Esta era la rutina, día tras día, la tortura que soporté. This was the routine, day after day, torture I endured. Certainly not what I wanted or expected, rest assured. This heinous life was imposed upon me by fate. As I wrestled to break free of these shackles, I challenge you to put yourself in my place. Caminar en estos zapatos y viajar por este camino. Walk in these shoes and travel this road, the pitfalls and snares my life has taken, las serpientes y trampas donde mi vida ha estado. Ve a través de mis ojos. Siente tu corazón romperse por acontecimientos aterradores que te hace temblar. See through my eyes. Feel your heart break from the terrifying events that leave you shaken. Experience the helplessness to feed your household, knowing their bellies ache from a growing hunger. Lock up your babies within the walls of your home, fearful of their demise if allowed to play outside. Live in fear of torture and death for being a witness to hideous crimes committed right at your doorstep. Suffer the loss of loved ones painfully left behind in your pursuit to give your children a better life. Let go the ability you generously received to walk the streets easily, unafraid, in peace. Renuncia a la libertad que aquellos antes de ti, que en el océano de la oscura muerte se atrevieron a cruzar. Your forefathers came to this beautiful land, yearning liberty, prosperity, a religious path, not a thought to the countless that would die, losing their homes, their heritage, their tribes, all in the name of justice, equality, and rights. We don't differ in our ambitions or in our intentions. ¿Por qué me consideras injustamente sospechosa? Atrévete a ponerte en mi lugar y con mis ojos mirar. Atrévete a culparme y entonces atrévete a decir que yo soy criminal. Dare to walk in my shoes. Dare to see through my eyes. Dare to blame me. Then dare to say a criminal am I. Build a wall strong and tall to keep the others out, separated. Construyamos un muro fuerte y alto para mantener a los demás fuera, separados.
want to be here. I want to go back to my little house in the land of many trees, the sweetest place to be found. It was only a little room, but just right for me and my mom. Yes, it was hard living there. You see, food we didn't really have. The hungry inside, it made my tummy hurt and my body feel weak. I won't lie to you. Lots of times, I wanted to cry, even scream. But when I did, my mom's eyes got really sad. So, not a peep, just drank lots of water and made myself go to sleep. My mom said I was a tiny baby when my dad left us all alone. And all her family died, way, way back in some kind of war. She worked really hard by selling fruit out on the streets. I went with her. All day we worked together in the heat. We earned enough to buy a little corn, this to become our food. Tortillas, tamales, simple but good. Sometimes even a little atol. Then, one day, she said, we have to walk and go far away. Now here we are, in this strange place. I feel so lost, so very afraid. They don't know what we say when we talk to them in our chorti, and we don't understand them either. I think this makes me angry. They talk louder as if we can't hear. My mom keeps nodding her head. I asked her if she knew what they said. She said no, I just pretend. A lady took us to a little room. What is that? Why is it raining inside? She kept pointing at it, but we didn't understand. As hard as we tried, she moved her arms, like taking off her clothes and getting in to bathe. Finally, I see. I don't want water on me. I want me in the water, to play. I want to wash in our little stream, scrubbing all the dirt away with smooth stones in my hands, wiggling my toes in the wet sand. No, no shoes for me. I don't like my feet all hot and squeezed tight. Then I can't feel the grass, soft and warm, making me happily sigh. Now I have to leave her. Go to school, they say? School. What is that? Learn letters. Why? I don't need letters. I already know how to speak. Mommy, I don't like this place. Please, take us home. Let's go back. I get frightened with the loud noises and the people in that black box who put them in there. Mommy, make it go away. Please make it stop. Why do I have to sleep on this thing they call a bed? Up on top? In my house? I slept right next to the door on my favorite mat, seeing stars that I could almost touch. They seemed so close, and the cool wind would blow kisses on my face. I liked that. Mommy, I don't like this place. Please take us home. Let's go back. The hungry inside isn't so scary when I think of all that I had. Mommy, please make it stop. Please take us home. Let's go back.
Build a wall strong and tall to keep the others out, separated. Construyamos un muro fuerte y alto para mantener a los demás fuera, separados.
My little girl and I, fearful, overcome with dread, fled through a desert near impossible to tread. Running a torturous and desperate to evade, refugees of a country where we knew only violence and hate, assaulted by constant heat, smothering and oppressing. A scorching blanket, weighty and overwhelming. By days, eyes burnt by blazing brightness, night giving rise to deep, chilling darkness. Sun-bleached bones of those that met with death, scattered, pieces to a puzzle, stories left unsaid. Frayed, tattered clothing fluttered in the air, banners of forsaken, desecrated tombs, here and there. howling of wild animals compelling us to run, blindly falling into thorn-covered cactus, leaving us bleeding, our minds overrun, struggling to find something to drink or eat, I fell. Spent with hopelessness and defeat, surrendering my flesh and bones to the scorching sun, my own pieces added to this hidden human puzzle. Wisdom herself revealed that my bones were not dry. When through my child, I heard God tell me to rise. Mommy, please don't leave me here all alone. These were the life-giving words she loudly cried. I then looked towards heaven to the celestial throne. A fresh breeze suddenly came, leaving me revived. I can only thank God we made it here alive.
Build a wall, strong and tall, to keep the others out, separated. Construyamos un muro, fuerte y alto, para mantener a los demás fuera, separados.
Her hair, long, dark, to her waist, soft and shiny, smooth like silk. A smile always on her sweet face. The light, the fire that stirred my soul. My loving, selfless, obedient child, devoted to her studies, her goals, knew that on her rested all of my hope. To one day achieve an affluent position, hopefully get us out of Skid Row. A hard knock shook me to the core, an ominous feeling, and it ran down my spine. I shouted, "Stop!" when she ran to the door. Laughing, she opened, and greeted by a fiery blast. My star crumpled like a rag doll to the floor. The killer fired again with a malicious laugh. Abruptly, he was gone, leaving no trace. Gang initiation was the culprit's motivation. The greeter was destined to be erased. The law we desperately sought, but a hopeless battle we fought. Life is now a hollow shell, no light, no fire. My youngest daughter, a beautiful blossoming flower, is now being stalked by the same gang, a gem they desire. But in your anger towards me, of course you can't see that I did not come here by choice or by request, or even for me. To see another child of mine slain is more than I can bear. With only your help and God at my side, can her guardian I be.
Build a wall, strong and tall, to keep the others out, separated. Construyamos un muro, fuerte y alto, para mantener a los demás fuera, separados.
My mother and I struggled to make ends meet after losing my father, whom was brutally shot. I was close to her and she was close to me, but somehow for her, I was never enough. It all began when I was 11. "Why are you doing this?" I cried out. "Por favor, deténgase. No me toque así." I fought him. I tried, have no doubt. As for my mom, blind that she was, believed this man to be her savior, her special one. At 13, I had no choice but to run away because she chose to act as if she knew not. Seeking a life free from that horrifying pain, tragically found myself at 15, married to a cruel excuse of a human being. and later was blessed with 3 little angels from God whom came to save me from suicidal thoughts. Terrified of eruptions from a volcano nearby, even worse was the danger at his hands to die. We made our way, my precious angels and I, through an arid labyrinth where everything but cactus dies. Struggling to be free, still unable to find my way from a nightmare intent to follow, as if I were its prey. Haunting shadows of the streets, disguised as human beings, trapped us while we slept, fulfilling my dreadful fate. Holding us captive in a filthy, broken down place, my innocent babes made to watch as these wicked creatures had their lascivious ways, doing unspeakable things that made me yearn to die, yet knowing that for my little treasures I needed to survive. I saw, done with me, they dumped us in a river, tossing us in like a piece of trash. Broken-hearted, I saw my cherubs cry and shive, and only by the grace of God I transformed as their raft that bridged their need to cross. So here I am in your country, yet once again mistreated by callous people that yell, "Beat it, you're not welcome, you pathetic bum." Never trying to understand, our struggle is for a right to freedom, to live in a world without chaos and strife. Our profound desire for our loved ones to learn and continue the good fight.
Build a wall, strong and tall, to keep the others out, separated. Construyamos un muro, fuerte y alto, para mantener a los demás fuera, separados.
Build a wall, strong and tall, to keep the others out, separated. This is the chant so many wail, yet the walls have already been created. Brick by brick, carelessly laid, the walls went up. Still to this day, walls made of sin. 6 the Lord hates, 7 detestable to him. Walls built of arrogance, eyes of loftiness, a little turning of the head, you don't belong. You're not good enough. This, with action, is said as people are slighted and rejected, left broken and bleeding within. Bigotry rearing its ugly head every chance it conceives, commands, provokes injustice and disparity. Because of the color of one's skin? Walls formed of deceit, abuses of the tongue, used against innocence, causing many to lose their livelihood. The lies leaving many impotent. The sacrament of marriage void for many by trickery and shame. Walls cemented with bloodshed, spilled by hands that murder the mass of guiltless folks, destroying their self-worth with barbed verbal spew. Walls erected by hearts of inequity, wicked plots. They devise and move, and they see fit as they see fit, occurring great wealth, never a thought to those in need, closing their eyes to the destitute, the helpless dying alone in the streets. Walls established by those with feet quick to carry out their mischief, revealing their evil intentions as they spread rumors, lies, and gossip. Families torn apart from the ruin these spiteful actions bring about. Walls formed by those giving false witness, preying on the faint, imprisoning many with their web spun of vengeance and hate. Walls shaped by those who sow all around us seeds of discordance in our schools, our jobs, our politics, even in our place of worship. Our shouts should be to tear them down, replacing them with bonds of compassion, humility, trust, and truth, open-heartedly, with love, loving our neighbor as love ourselves, all in the name of him above, in pursuit of God, in whom we trust. Reach out to those oppressed. Build a bridge. Stand in the gap for your neighbor as their advocate.
Build a wall, strong and tall, to keep the others out, separated. Construyamos un muro, fuerte y alto, para mantener a los demás fuera, separados.
My life, torn asunder by immorality and barbarity, forced my hand, condemning me to forsake my depths. Crushed, broken at abandoning my beautiful motherland, yet expectant for what this new home could beget. Our detainment never came to mind as happening. However, I stood firm in godly faith and strong belief that the justness this nation is famed for would intervene. 3 months I paced that compound, praying for our release. At last, my litanies answered. The assessor gave me a yes after listening to my testament, accepting everything I said. Rules of engagement were then put into play. File your claim, report with timely calls made, display model behavior during the mandatory wait. We did our best to play the game. Didn't break any rules. A pleasant community we found, friendship we built, my son happy in school, our dream now being fulfilled. A call came. Ma'am, for your process on becoming documented, you and your child must present yourselves to be fingerprinted. Eagerly we went, hopeful that our process was nearly done. But what transpired next left me reeling and stunned. To my horror, we found ourselves once again detained. At the center, nice as it was, where we felt chained. I asked for explanations, but never received any information. Then suddenly, get ready for your immediate deportation. Ready? How does one get ready to face such monstrosity? How does one willingly return to a depraved, evil society? I'm supposed to just cross my arms and resign myself, be idle, as darkness encloses, to my child say, farewell, as his light is extinguished by the grim reaper himself. Forgive me my anger, my rage, my refusal to embark. Would you willingly return to a future sinister and dark? Like a mouse caught in the claws of a mischievous cat, I felt we were played, never truly given a fighting chance.
Build a wall, strong and tall, to keep the others out, separated. Construyamos un muro, fuerte y alto, para mantener a los demás fuera, separados.
A little verse for you, a simple poetic speech of little things that touch the soul so sweet. A little piece of yarn, just enough to knit my baby girl some warmth. A little bite, lovingly made, of food you shared to soothe my heart. A little hair tie, slipped into my hand, now feeling pretty. to make my baby boy smile, even laugh. A little piece of cake, my favorite kind, to allow me to celebrate my birthday. A little Bible full of promise and hope to sustain me during my difficult wait. These little gifts, seemingly small to others, possibly of no import, given in kindness and in compassion, shone the light into my darkened world. It is the caring voiced in your kind deeds that became the greatest gifts we've received.
Build a wall strong and tall to keep the others out, separated. Construyamos un muro fuerte y alto para mantener a los demás fuera, separados.
Does the color of my skin truly define who I am? Do you really judge me for what you don't understand? My mother one color, my father another. What does that make me, if my skin matches neither? Out of my mouth a new verbal pours out, that to you may sound foreign, as I try to make sense of two cultures merging, embraced by some, yet rejected by others, displaying their true colors, and by revealing their true distresses, I realize it is not my skin, but the false prejudice with their souls confused with human sin.
Build a wall strong and tall to keep the others out, separated. Construyamos un muro fuerte y alto para mantener a los demás fuera, separados. I lay here in my haven constructed of mortar and stone, my fortress, my defense against further assault and abuse. Al fin, una apariencia de paz, salvaguarda, restaurada, con el paso de encontrar alivio y curar las heridas. Thoughts of my cherished mother, loving me with her food, enthused in me a desire to cook myself a pot of soup. A little soup is soothing for the mind and body, she would croon, while happily stirring the crock. Un bálsamo calmante para la mente y el cuerpo. Limpié algunos huesos y verduras como ella lo hacía, y a la olla fueron los huesos, las cebollitas verdes y olorosas, seguidos por las zanahorias dulces y crujientes, y unas papas. The aromas beckoned, feelings of warmth and well-being, as cabbage and chayote were added, flavors deliciously mingling. Lastly, a sprig of cilantro, fresh, zesty, perfect for seasoning. Bang! Bang! Los sabores se rompen, el consuelo se desvance, y mi mundo deja de girar. Horrified, I realized malice had me once more in its nasty grasp as cold metal, sharp and lethal, pricked my throat, ready to stab. A menacing voice hissed, "Scream, and it's your last cry. Grita y no vivirás." As cruel fingers probed and jabbed, fiercely tearing at my dress, determined to never again be abased and misused, I wrenched myself, pushing back, my cries in outrage deluge. La muerte, final más dulce me pareció que sufrir nuevamente una violación. Pero esto no iba a ser, y provoqué su ira mayor al verme tan defensiva. With a hateful sneer, he turned to my pot my comfort, my food, now his weapon of choice, destroying my entire womanhood as he hurled its boiling contents over me, from breast to thigh. Though I am now disfigured, I carry these scars with pride, evidence of taking a stand, my autonomy worth the fight. Su crimen no fue castigado, protegido por la falta de ley. Bribes ensure that he is above reproach, while I remain his pawn, perchance again poached. Yo escapé para otro refugio poder cimentar, abrigada en una nueva tierra que pueda llamar mi hogar. I came looking for harbor, a place to finally call home.
Build a wall, strong and tall, to keep the others out, separated. Construyamos un muro, fuerte y alto, para mantener a los demás fuera, separados.
Plagued by memories pursuing me day and night. Echoes of bone-chilling screams over and over replayed. Hot, sticky blood splattered savagely on the ground. Limbs obscenely twisted, mutilated, his body bound. I tried to stay hidden, to somehow shut it out, but yes, it was my beloved brother. I had no doubt. How could I not recognize the voice behind those strangled cries? That one, that when I was little sang me to sleep with sweet lullabies. My mother worked from dawn till dusk when I was a child. So he was my mother, my father, caring for me all the while. Though paralyzed by fear, devotion compelled me outside. He was my tower, my strength, the only man to be relied. I crumpled to my knees, devastated as he gave his last breath. Mindful by doing this, I just signed a warrant for my own death. Where I come from, we are warned, do not see, hear, or talk. Mind your business. Keep your doors locked. I held him close to my heart for a minute, maybe two, sobbing and heartbroken, unwilling to bid him adieu. Furiously, that I can't bury him, take time to devoutly lament. I lay some flowers growing nearby fervently next to his head. My thoughts in a whirl, what do I do? Where do I go? 2 children to care for? No husband? My brother gone. Knowing that remaining is not an option, if we are to survive, I grab my 2 little ones, somehow finding a place to hide. Borrowing only just enough money to pay for our two to cross, I entrusted my mother with my eldest to care for and watch.
Build a wall, strong and tall, to keep the others out. Construyamos un muro, fuerte y alto, para mantener a los demás fuera, separados.
A punching bag is what I became, not a cherished wife, at the hands of that once loving, now heartless man. 2 months passed and eternal darkness arrived. Living in desperation, seeking the moon and the stars, until that moment I accepted. I no longer had the light. Efforts in vain to exercise the law, order and justice were not to be found. A little bit of money in the hand of a crooked cop, and quickly my husband was on his way out. When he saw my baby as an object of desire, that was the day he crossed the line. He dared to quench his bestial pleasures when she had only turned 9. He then threatened me with a machete. Praise God, I managed to grab her and escape. Having no family and nowhere to go, we hid in the woods, not knowing our fate. I found myself at a crossroads, aware that if we stayed, things would only be worse. Considering his rage, yet terrified of leaving, aware of the dangers we would face. Expecting to find safety and protection for my daughter. Upon weighing the risks, I came to realize that for both of us, though daunting, a new path we would carve by going north.
Build a wall strong and tall to keep the others out, separated. Construyamos un muro fuerte y alto para mantener a los demás fuera, separados.
Who and what defines my stance? Is it by destiny, choice, or chance? Frail, weak, and powerless, unable to stand single-handed, is who society tries to say I am. My enemy, a thieving bandit, in his hatred for me, does his part to see that my essence is beaten, bruised, stepped on, mutilated, and pillaged. My womanliness torn apart. Abased, debased, left with only an image of the person I could have been. If, like her, a gift I could have been given. Chosen as the first ever to witness our sweet Lord's blessed resurrection, though a woman, her name, Mary Magdalene. But in her, in you, and in me, God saw something deep within, devotedly gave his life to free a strength that endures it all, a heart ready to believe. And come what may, no matter the pain, he knew we would come to realize and without restraint receive. In him alone, we are made whole and complete. This is where my stance begins and ends. Chosen to love, to give, destined by him.
Good afternoon. Thank you for being here this afternoon. On behalf of Our Lady of the Lake University and the Congregation of Divine Providence, our founders, I am Jackie Walter, the director of the Center for Women in Church and Society. We would like to thank Jose De Leon, the director of this production of ABRAZOS, and the amazing actresses Bella, Cindy, Kelly, Ariana, and Ana, and Irene, for opening their hearts and bringing to life the stories of the immigrant women and children. Now, it is my great pleasure to introduce the author of ABRAZOS, Rebecca Padilla. She wrote these stories to be the voice of the women and children she encountered, in the hope that as we read the stories, we will open our hearts to them with compassion and mercy, extending a hand in abrazos de amor. I also want to introduce Ana Maria Gonzalez, Rebecca's editor, professor, and friend, a true educator, and Ana Maria's daughter, Ana Michelle Gadet, who curated the artwork on the cover of ABRAZOS, and the artwork is called Paths. Three amazing women. Immediately following our closing prayer, you can meet and talk to Rebecca, Ana Marie, and Ana. Rebecca will be selling her books here. Okay. I am going to invite now our Director of University Ministry, Dr. Creighton Chandler, to come up and offer us a closing prayer.
Would you please stand with me as we close in prayer? God of creative action, as we leave this afternoon, keep those present here wrapped in your abrazo, in your sacred embrace that allows us truly to know, to become, and to live your hospitality amid even the manufactured chaos swirling around us, whose design is to separate us from your loving arms. For it is indeed in the abrazo that we find you. It is in the abrazo that we discover the courage to live as disciples of your providence, abandoning ourselves to your love. Stay in our hearts, Lord. Allow the words we have witnessed to become us, so that we never forget the first step necessary to the abrazo, that stretching out and opening of our arms to the other, where we can know no enemy. Indeed, in the abrazo, we fear not the cross, but instead our bodies turn into the cross, becoming the holy mystery of your passion. Give us, therefore, Lord, that strength of your abrazo, so that the only law that we obey is your law, that natural inclination to love our neighbor, which you have inscribed in our hearts since the beginning of time, and whose spirit you promised would never leave us.